the last couple of years as a faculty member, I've begun to realize how important the type of learning, which we might call embodied learning, is taking place through the use of possibility books. It sort of challenges the paradigm of traditional learning, which might be note-taking, listening, jotting down everything the professor says, because it's really important.
So we want them to practice being open to something that maybe doesn't feel comfortable or like their common way of doing things. And so possibility books really challenges you to actually start with marks. It allows us to let ideas bubble forth from kind of the inside in a place that we don't always access. So trying to actually start there is uncomfortable, and that's okay.
In this class, I've been introduced to this idea of visual harvesting, taking key ideas during lectures and topics, drawing our takeaways in some sort of marks instead of just writing the words, which feels very uncomfortable for me.
Often the students would say, I started off being like, I'm not creative.
We really want to emphasize it's okay to be uncomfortable, right? That's part of the act of creativity, is we're operating in a space that's unfamiliar.
The beauty of it really is that the students have been able to embrace the idea of uncertainty and how powerful uncertainty actually is.
It allows students to engage with and document the knowledge that they're experiencing, that they're developing in class, in ways that resonate with the ways that they process that information.
And somehow when I draw it out like this, it stays in my mind longer and makes more sense and makes me think critically about it in a way that just writing the words doesn't. And even though it feels uncomfortable, I can tell that I'm getting more takeaways from it and am really actively engaged in our material in a way that I'm not in other classes.
The possibility book allowed me to access that deeper part of myself.
And sometimes you don't need to put it into words. Sometimes you need to put it into lines, into movement on a page, into thought bubbles.
We were talking about coding and analyzing data and interviews. It was me, like how the mess becomes organized and even more organized.
The introduction to possibility books is done extremely intentionally based on research. We start by helping people become comfortable with mark making, and it always involves a routine first thing of a class or a meeting in which people mark make as a response to a prompt. Then 5 minutes of sharing, practicing curiosity by asking questions and understanding someone else's perspective. Students report that possibility books greatly increases their sense of community and willingness to risk failure.
The students all said that they loved having a part of every day that was not linguistic. And they got to have some time to just think and be engaged, but they didn't have to use language. And as a language teacher, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I loved that. I loved that their brains got to keep working, but in a different way.
The ways that it helps me as a faculty member are to constantly be reminded and aware of the multiple ways that students process information, and that they're all bringing wonderful approaches to how they think and hear and see and communicate about the world. And I get to be reminded of that and explore that space on a daily basis.
For me, the books provide that sort of space for dialogue of self, dialogue with the community, the collective thinking that comes up. And I, as a professor, change the way I teach because of that, and the way it helps the students make even stronger connections to the courses they've taken on the block, as well as the directions that they're headed into.